What's up, family? This is Super Mike 2164. We will be starting pretty soon. And what I want to do is just touch base with everybody about this topic. And the topic basically is gold, respecting. What people won't do for respect. There's a lot of people that will kill you over disrespecting. That's it. What they take is disrespect. Yeah, make sure y'all press a little thumbs up. You on Facebook, on Twitch. Actually, we're on Twitter. So go ahead and reshare, like it, and reshare the thing if you're on Twitter. And on YouTube, you can go ahead and press that thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. But respect again. You see, this is the thing that is gold to black men. A man wants to be respected. And there's a lot of value attached to respect. And if you don't understand the value of respect, you could lose a relationship, whether you know it or not. If you understand the value of respect, you could gain a friend. You could communicate with people effectively. Uh, this is something that a lot of us don't know. Respecting a man who has been disrespected for over 400 years, treated like trash, passed over, misused, abused. You know, you disrespect that man as he's trying to make his way into the respectability of the world and the societies of the earth, he might just kill you. He might just kill you. And for other men who intend on disrespecting an oppressed class of people, guess what? It's actually fun to disrespect the men of the oppressed class. They love doing that. It makes them feel powerful. So that's something that we just need to understand. So I want to go over a couple things. The number one thing, though, guess what? How do you even get respect? You got to respect yourself. How do you get respect as a group? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Later on, I'll drop the link, but we want to start off with this here. What's going on, everybody? Like I said, press the thumbs up button. We'll probably drop the link in a minute, but I just wanted to lay the foundation of the stroke, what I'm talking about. See, respect comes from control, respecting yourself, knowing your abilities, and developing people. Men, you gotta respect your women. You gotta. That's one thing that this enemy has confused you. It confused a lot of us. If you don't respect your own women, you gotta get her respect. I don't care what argument y'all had, what problems you think is wrong with her. Disrespecting your own women, you're never going to get where you need to be. And so let me go over some of the content part. We got to understand this. These are some basically some steps that we got to understand, and the faster we get it, the quicker we can get to where we need to be. Because you are, as a group, you are two halves of what it takes to continue a group. You are male and female. Now, a lot of us think that we are a separate thing, but you are a male and a female, two halves to get to a certain group, to continue the culture of a group. Now, what you don't want is you don't want a high volume. You have this thing called miscegenation, which is called race mixing. And you don't want a high volume of that. You want to keep these type of long-term respectable relationships with the group. within that group, love and respect among each other. It allows you to get through so much, pressure. It allows you to get through so much oppression. You fight together, you live, you die together. And, it's hard to extinguish a group of people who know how to protect, love, and respect each other. It's very tough to distinguish these people because they're going to fight back. But when you don't understand these principles, which, our memory has been wiped. So we think it's more respect and love and getting and trying to, look real simpish and stupid, trying to get respect out a whole nother class of people who really actually hate you because their whole history, they have lineage and epigenetics for over hundreds and literally thousands of years in fighting, your group of people. So you got to understand some stuff. So this is what we want to do here. Now, let's listen to, now I want to go over this real quick. And I'm just want to just show this example. Marion Barry. So Marion Barry, hold on a second. Marion Barry and Minister Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan respects Marion Barry. He respects his family. And, even through a lot of stuff, a lot of people thought, Marion Barry, one of the things he was known for, well, the white media try to make it known for, is him, smoking crack and being convicted. One of the lowest periods of his career. That's what the white media wants us to remember about Marion Barry. And I just want to go over some of that history just in case people don't, know about it. So it says, this is a story back in 1990 by Michael York and Tracy Thompson, which is the Washington Post. Marion Barry, the former mayor of Washington, D.C. U.S. District Judge Thomas Penfield Jackson saying that D.C. Mayor Marion Barry had violated the public trust. Yesterday sentenced Barry to 6 months in prison and ordered him to pay a $5,000 fine for his conviction of cocaine possession. Jackson and said Barry had given aid, comfort, and encouragement to the drug culture at large and contributed to the anguish that illegal drugs have inflicted on this city. The judge said Barry, 54, is a compulsive user of cocaine and therefore is not only a criminal, a user. Now think about the opioid crisis, how they respect their sick people who use and abuse illegal drugs or drugs in general versus how you're treated. Just want you to understand that. They love giving lectures during your lowest point. They speak death ill into your life. This is what they do. They're not concerned about developing. They rule by fear, intimidation, and that's how they run it. So basically this judge, he gave him a fine. They called him a criminal, but a victim, deserving of as much compassion as anyone so afflicted. Under federal rules, Barry would be required to spend the full 6 months in prison. Parole had been abolished in the federal system, and prisons grant administrative reductions or a good time only for prisoners sentenced to more than a year. The judge said that in addition to the $5,000 fine, Barry must pay for his confinement. Wow, he's got to pay for his confinement, even though he was actually working there. A standard condition under 1984 law. Federal officials said that using current fees as an example, that could amount to about 9,653 for the 6 month imprisonment and 1 year of federal supervision. During that year, Barry will have to submit to unscheduled urinalysis tests. Moments before the sentencing, Barry asked Jackson for leniency, telling the judge that he wanted to take full responsibility Barry described for actions Barry described as out of character for me. My mother, who is sitting in this courtroom, didn't raise me that way, Barry said. My wife, who married me over 12 years ago, wouldn't have married someone with those kinds of character defects and values. Jackson could have handed Barry 1 year sentence and $100,000 fine, but it is uncommon for first time offenders to receive jail terms for misdemeanor possession. Barry's lawyer, R. Kenneth Mundy, said that he will report the verdict and sentence. It is unclear how the sentence will affect Barry's candidacy. Said that wrong, but anyway, he's trying to get reelected, and it felt like this would tank him. So this man was running for election next month. His candidacy next month for at-large seat on the D.C. Council. Under the city law, a mayor or council member can stay in office after a conviction for a misdemeanor, but not for a felony. The sentence appears to be a closing chapter in the investigation and prosecution of the mayor, a criminal case that has preoccupied the district in the closing years of the Barry's administration and divided the city on the question of government's fairness. The sentence characteristically split the city's residents. Some say that it is a fair sentence. Others said it is too harsh, and some see in it evidence of racism. Several pointed to such cases as former White House aide Michael Dever, a white man who Jackson sentenced to probation for a 1987 perjury conviction. Now keep in mind, this same judge, perjury got probation for a white man. But, now this is a different place. I just want people to understand this. But, perjury in Detroit for Mayor Kilpatrick got 30 years, basically. So just so we know that. So this is, Marion Barry. We're talking about Marion Barry, just his situation. And now, Marion Barry has passed. But they ran through the media. People made songs about it, disrespected this man. And, of course, he was a crack addict during the time of crack. And he was the mayor, and, it's a big deal. But during this period of time, at his lowest moment, who could he be respected by? Who respected him? So I want to hear this story from his wife, Mayor Cora Masters Barry, about how Minister Farrakhan did stand with this brother. He stood with the brother during one of the lowest times and spoke words of life. And this was really deep to me. So I just want y'all to hear this.
Respect and admiration. This is about love, respect, and admiration. For a great man like this to say to me, and I'm sorry, Mr. Farrakhan, I don't mean no disrespect, and I can't talk about you without imitating you. Sister Cora, I would love to honor my brother like I've done so many of my brothers in the struggle. Would you honor me by escorting me to see my brother's statue? And I was like, you serious? Yeah, that would be great. And then, we talked and that was the end of it. And I really didn't believe it. I don't hate to say that. I mean, I just kind of forgot about it. Then I get a call from Sister Claudette. When we going to start planning? And I said, he's serious? So here we are today. So thank you so much for thinking about that, Minister Farrakhan. I love you more than words will ever say. Um, but lots have been said about how we love Minister Farrakhan and how Minister Farrakhan loves us, but not a lot's been said about how Marion felt about him. And I'm going to tell a story that I have seldom told. When Marion won the fourth term as mayor, which was historic, and which a congressman, when we went on Capitol Hill, said from Mississippi, Mr. Mayor, you did something only Lazarus has done. He had come back from the dead. So and that's going to become more poignant in a few minutes. So when we won, there was some nervousness in certain parts of the city. And, people thought, well, this is going to be the end of us. But they invited us over so they could have a meeting and explain to the mayor, there ain't nothing we can do about it. You're here now, so let's try to work together. That's the way I looked at it. And Marion wanted me to come, and I said, I'm not going over there. I said, I don't trust myself. And he said, just be quiet, just sit down, but you have to come. So I went. When the door opened, it's a big, beautiful house, of course. And right at the very back of the room, I saw a beautiful baby grand piano and a bench. And of course, I had on my sunglasses. So I went and sat on that bench and I dropped my head just so people wouldn't see my body language. Everybody was respectful and everybody was quiet and, don't know what to expect. This man, despite all their efforts, was back in office. And so they welcomed him, they were respectful, and then the first question was, Mr. Mayor, we welcome you, we're going to work together. I know we weren't on the same side, but we're all one city, blah, blah, blah. But we have a question. Now that you are mayor, what are you going to do about your association with Minister Louis Farrakhan? And I don't think they used the word minister. They said, we've seen that you have been seen around with him and in the papers, but now that you're mayor, how are you going to handle that? You have to separate yourself from that.
Now look at that here. I just wanted to chime in right there for a second. One of the things that we got to understand is, we can't really make it to where we want to be without somebody who can teach you what you don't know. And a lot of times we don't know what we don't know. We sit up here and disrespect wisdom. We disrespect wisdom for very stupid reasons. So, they want to separate people of power with wisdom from people with wisdom. So that's what they want to do. They want to make sure that everybody's scared to hang around the people with the right wisdom that's going to actually benefit you. So you got people in your cartoons, they always tell the children to disrespect their parents, disrespect your father. Your dad is stupid. The children are smarter than the parents. They tell, they set up these puppet stupid preachers, and give preaching a bad name. So you got pimp preachers, literal pimps, versus there's people who you don't really know about who are doing good in the community. So let's keep listening to this, folks.
Go ahead. Thank you.
The room got quiet. It seemed like for a long time, but it could have been but seconds. And Marion looked and he said, when I was arrested, he called. He offered ministry, love. When I was in court being tried, he came. They turned him away. He went across the street, appealed it, and went and sat in my trial. When I went to jail, he called, he visited, he offered a support for me and for my family. And when I came out, he embraced me and my family and lifted us up. And then he said, in only Marion Barry fashion, "You want me to turn my back on my brother who loved me through everything for you, who have wished me nothing but bad things? Is that what you're asking me?"
Go ahead.
He left it with a question. My head came up. Now, what about that? And that was pretty much set the tone. So, Miss Farrakhan, we love you more than you love us. You just don't know. But it's okay for me to talk about it and for Minister Farrakhan to talk about it, but I have a little surprise. A day came when he was in prison, and Minister Farrakhan and Marion had a conversation. And something said to me, and this was in 1991, of those old fashioned tape machines, I pushed record. When that conversation was over, I took that tape, put it in a little plastic thing, put it in a night in the night in a jar in the nightstand by my bed. For 30 years, never played it again. Never. Every once in a while, I'd see it and I'd like, what am I gonna do with this? So when this came up, it was Allah. God said, now is the time. So you've heard his speeches, but let me let you hear his voice as he administers to my husband as he's in the deepest life of time of his life when he was in prison. Please.
Now, I want y'all to hold on 1 second because I want to show this here. You know, during this period of time, what's going on, everybody? Like I said, we're just talking about respect, the black man getting respect. You know, this is gold for us. You know, our self-esteem, our motivation to achieve is gold for us. And when we are disrespected, it is very traumatizing, to especially as a man. So I'm using the example of Marion Barry. How we got to respect each other even when we are at our lowest. This is because we got to pull each other up. So I just want to show now, for those who don't know, the Marion Barry situation, he was smoking crack. He was running for DC office. They were making jokes about this man during this period of time. Here's just an example. It's saying in living color doing a skit of Arsenio Hall and Marion Barry. I haven't really seen this, but I'm going to show some of it. So David Allen Greer is playing Marion Barry, and Wayans, Keenan Wayans is playing Arsenio Hall.
Absolutely nothing. I just like to do that after every third question. So, I understand you're in a new film.
Now wait, no. See, they told me you wasn't supposed to ask me about that.
Ah, brother. No disrespect to Morgan Freeman or Denzel Washington, but brother, I hear you are smoking.
Wait, no, I'd rather not talk about that right now.
Sandy, do we have a clip?
Right here, Arsenio.
Kick it.
I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C. This is a setup. This is a setup. Get that camera. They were supposed to tell me the show was coming.
Now you see here, you got the white man who is the biggest criminal in the world, a mayor who actually does good for his city, but this man is being disrespected, and we're playing into it. You know, Living Color played into it, you know, for fun and views. Now, you know, I can't really fault us because we think this stuff is fun, but disrespecting of yourself, of your own people, it is not helping you, because what you do is you feed into a stereotype about your own group, and you actually undercut your value as a group. So that respect, you know, having respect for yourself. Now, you know, we can deal with it, but we got to find a way to try to respect each other. That's all. So let me keep playing this part.
And when sorry. And when this is over, there's going to be a song. And then after that song, the next voice you will hear is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine, brother.
All right, how's the movement?
The movement is struggling, but coming right along. Unfortunately, we lost our editor this morning.
Oh.
Last night, he passed away.
Oh,
Brother Wali Muhammad.
well, give my sympathy in regards to the family.
Yes. And it's really good to hear your voice.
Well, as I said, God has blessed me with a good spirit and a great attitude and a good mind. Hang in down here.
You know, Mr. Mayor, you know, sometimes when we go through things in life that none of us like to go through, you know, if you had to choose a place to be, you certainly would not choose where you are. But there is, in the foreword of the Holy Quran, a section that reads, you know, that hell is meant for purification. And sometimes God allows us to get into certain difficulties that create circumstances that purify us for greater service. You know, and you know, you have been through so much, my dear brother, over this last 2 years. And then, of course, to end up incarcerated, even if it is for 6 months. But this 6-month period will not work against you. It will work definitely for you, because it gives you time to think, to see your people as they are in under those circumstances, to feel the anguish and the pain of those less fortunate than we, and it's just preparing you to serve greater on your emergence from hell. And I understand that down is not really down. It's really a preparation for going up. So, my brother, whatever I can do to make this time, whether it's 6 months, if I can aid you in any way to make it go smoother and better, if there are any books that I can send, any errand that I can run to smooth the way for you, I want to be at your service.
I really appreciate it, Mr. Farrakhan. I've been reading some books, and I've been thinking and planning, and my mind is even clearer now than ever before.
Of course.
I'm getting a good 7, 8 hours of sleep. You know, I work at night.
Yes.
Good job over at the power plant where they make steam. I just read the gauges every hour.
Yes, sir.
Each of us has to do something down here work-wise.
Uh-huh.
Can't read over there. And already I can feel it. My energy is high, and my ideas are percolating, and God is working.
Yes. I have no doubt about that, brother. Yes, sir.
Some brothers sent me a copy of the Holy Quran and began to learn how to read that.
Yes.
And Reverend Wilson gave me 2 books by Howard Thurman.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Dean Thurman is just a monster.
He's a deep brother, I tell you.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, brother, you know, you are on the road, and nobody has to tell you what to think or how to think. You know, God will guide you every step of the way, because as I used to hear Jesse say, you know, and sometimes God ain't through with me yet. And he's certainly not through with you, brother. You have so much experience now in government, and so much that you can help your people to see and understand. So your value has increased and not decreased in terms of the struggle of our people for liberation. So I'm at your side, and I'm at your beck and call, brother. So whatever you need and whatever I can do, I'm just as close to you as that telephone.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch with you as to how we work this situation out at the time that's convenient.
All right, and as soon, and if there's anything that I can do to facilitate it, I'll be most happy to do that. But as soon as you can get clearance.
We may have to raise it to a different level, but let's see how.
Well, we'll do that.
Really appreciate it, brother.
All right, my dear brother. May God bless you with a wonderful day, a peaceful day. And may he protect you in your going out and in your coming in, and bring you safely out of there to your people that you may continue your service.
Thank you so much, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Now, I just wanted to play that for the record because I just wanted to give an example of how you don't beat another brother down. You don't use a situation just for views and clicks so you can use and pile in. That and if you notice, this was in 1991, 1990. Marion Barry was sitting in jail almost. Okay. Now the minister could have went on a high horse and talked about the crack and all of this crap, but with that cooperation from those two powerful brothers, you know what they end up helping to produce, and just 5 years later is the Million Man March. Okay, I'm just giving us an example of how we build. If we want to play games and expose each other all the time in a way that destroys our efforts, then, you know, we can play games like where we got some people trying to use something that they're not entirely clear of. For example, you know, like this barbershop conversations dude who's trying to expose something that, you know, a piecemeal situation about with Rizza Islam, talking about he's accused of doing some crazy stuff. And I don't repeat mess, but I'm just showing this because this guy has a bone to pick. He's literally created some weird movie trying to disparage, you know, the people in the Nation of Islam. He doesn't like Minister Farrakhan. He doesn't like Rizza Islam. He doesn't like anybody, Wesley Muhammad. And this is what this man does. He doesn't produce anything. Is he trying to build or do anything? No. He gives people piecemeal information, puts out some slander, and doesn't explain it. And he just putting out something for clicks and views. Where does that build? How does that build people who don't even understand law? He gets a few people to call in, but they're assuming a partial, a partial recording of something, which is manipulated. See, this is all they got. Rizza Islam accusation. That's all they want you to hear of this entire meeting. We don't know the context and none of that. And people want to play games, but this is how you can't do conclusions without investigation properly. You need to wait, give people respect. Respect. We got a situation here where this brother Rizza is being accused of something. We don't, and this is the woman that decided to marry him. We don't know what the situation is. Obviously, it's cleared up. That's one thing. We know that the woman decided to marry the brother. So we got to be careful because, we've got people they're so bent on hate, destruction, pain. They don't want to, they just want to destroy. So that's what the battery in their back is about. It's about destruction. So you'll never get anything until this person decides to change their mentality. You will never get any, you got disrespect, that means destruction. When you have respect, you can end up building on respect. You can build with respect. And I should have showed, let me show what I showed. This guy, I'm sorry. Let me show back what I showed because y'all didn't see it. This is who I was talking about. This guy, what's his name? Is Fred or something? Barbershop Conversations. He's got this little partial recording and he plays a partial recording, and then whoever is, not wise enough to demand the more investigation, they perpetuate an accusation that doesn't even make sense. They only show this partial conversation or, recording. It sounds like the minister. And, we're not supposed to ask for anything else. All we're supposed to be is compartmentalize our ideas and our understanding. And we're supposed to be satisfied with that. Does it make sense that this accusation, the person who made this so-called accusation, is the same woman that agreed to marry the man? We don't know their situation. It's not really our business. But this is the type of, disrespectful commentary brothers like this choose to try to eat off of. It's disgusting to me, but it doesn't build anything. So I don't even repeat the accusation. I just put it out there that, don't feed into that. Respect each other, respect our people enough to try to at least understand what's going on. Respect our people enough. For example, I'm going to go to this situation. I'm going to end off with this here. You got DJ Academics. This man, DJ Academics, this dude, he built his, he built his thing off of, this man built his empire, or his small little empire off of, just rap. And this man built his empire off of rap music. So, Academics addresses Broke and Dusty. He made these accusations. And what happens is, let's look at this. Academics is addressing the Broke and Dusty slander head on, making himself hip hop public enemy number one. When you allow people to disrespect you, disrespect the foundation of the industry, of your culture, what ends up happening is you're undermining everyone. This is the reason why twisting history, not knowing the real history, it allows the world to disrespect you. So you don't get you're not respected. It really compromises each and every one within that group. This is why you got so many people who don't want to be black, who don't want to be a part of who they're genetically, they basically are the original people of the planet. They want to, that's why so many different identity changes going on with black people. Is because they disrespect themselves because they don't know themselves. So, I'm just touching base with that. I'm going to play LL Cool J's response. Basically, Academics called the rap pioneers Broke and Dusty. That's basically what he did. And I won't really go into his remarks, but, the proper way to respond to that is LL Cool J came out and let him know, like, bro, you can't be doing that. We can't allow that.
Because a couple of these guys and girls and people out here made songs and made music and made contributions to this culture, or even dancers danced and made these contributions to culture, just because they didn't get rich, just because they weren't able to pile up millions or billions of dollars, does not mean that they didn't make a contribution to this culture. That does not mean that they didn't do something. They created an industry that we all ate off of. They created an industry that you eat off of. When you go out there and you go monetize your brand, when you go get your whatever and do what you got to do to build your career. When you go out there and negotiate your deals and negotiate your checks and talk tough, guess what? That money, that bread, that food that you eating was created by those same people that you disrespected. That industry was created by them same people that you call in, you know, foul words, foul language. The people that you're referring to. So my thing is this. It's always
Notice LL Cool J did not repeat the language. See, when you keep repeating slander, then you become part of the slander. So we don't even really want to repeat the slander. We just want to address that it happened.
good. It's always good to get money. It's always important. It's important. It's important to get money. I agree. I'm all about getting paper. I've been talking about it my whole career. But don't ever, ever, ever confuse being rich with making a contribution to our culture. So just because.
So that's just something there. And I want to end off with this here. You know, we have just another example of how disrespecting your own people sets you up for destruction and death. So we, you know, I was looking at this video here, and I'll show it.
Land wasn't on the coastal region, so you don't have direct access.
Now listen here. These are some Nigerian women telling some of the history of slavery from their side of the coin. Now their people did sell slaves, so we want to see who they sold.
Taxes. So they did meet with a lot of resistance, you know, when they came.
Right. Just to add little to what she said, regarding to the slave trade, the Benin themselves took their own people, which is not behaving, which is a destroyer. When Oba is trying to repair and is destroying, killing children, making crops in the farm not to grow, things are not moving on. Any family that had such a person, when the slave masters came, they would just take that person and hand over, because it's an abomination to kill in that land. Just kill your own people. It was an abomination. Mm-hmm. All they did is just to hand over them, those type of people, to the slave masters. That is the only time the Benin were involved in slave trade. Okay. If you go to Museum Dock in Liverpool, the first talk there, you see a man involved with Benin, one of the European in them days. You hear what the man says about Benin. And two, we are not here for that today. When James Philip went to deceive.
So the point is, I just wanted to play that part just so you understand it. She says basically, people they didn't like, who they feel like that was acting up, instead of fixing their own problem, they turned those people over to white people as slaves. This is what she's saying, and we know this is lying, because she said it's an abomination to kill in this land, which they did it because these are the Dahomey descendants. You know, so but the thing is, what I wanted to show is, I thought about, this is the reason why we are referred to as Akata, because that's the way she described it. So Akata is a world filled with tension. Akata it's really simple. Although both are Africans by origin, Killmonger is an African American, while T'Challa grew up in Africa. Their diverse upbringing created a divide, causing them to fight instead of embrace each other. But our story is not about Black Panther, it's about Akata, and we're going to discuss its meaning. Akata is a controversial word that has been translated into different meanings by the parties concerned. However, there are three distinct meanings that stick out. They are wild animal. Now keep in mind, this is what this woman said. Akata is a word generally believed to be derived from the Yoruba, Southwest Nigerian, which is the Dahomium. These are the people she just said. We turned these people over to be slaves. That woman just told you she turned these people over to be slaves, and then they come here in this, they refer to you as Akata. So they're telling you stray cat. See, the word means wild animal or stray cat. Okay, it is referred to as African Americans or Africans who moved abroad and forget their culture. For instance, an African who lives abroad but cannot speak this indigenous Nigerian language is called a kata. Objectively, the word is not inherently derogatory. Shut up. It's derogatory. You're calling people, these are the people, she said, you are criminals. That's what she just told you. And this is the thing we got to be checking people. This is disrespectful. And this is what I mean. We need to understand this stuff.
See a man involved with Benin, one of the European then in.
Hold on. I'm going to listen to what she just said right there again. I want to hear what she said. See, this is how they were involved in the slave trade. This woman admits it right here. And she's telling you the type of people. This is what they refer to.
Regarding to the slave trade, the Benin themselves took their own people, which is not behaving, which is a destroyer. When Oba is trying to repair and is destroying, killing children, making crops in the farm not to grow, things are not moving on. Any family
making crops in the farm not to grow. They said she's saying killing children. These are basically she calling them criminals. She's calling them criminals, and she turns it over to the white people.
that had such a person, when the slave masters came, they would just take that person and hand over because it's an.
See, all right. So that's what she's saying. So that's what I want y'all to see that. And then when we go here, hold on a second. And then when we go here to this word akata meaning, it's just things are becoming more clear. That's all. I just wanted to put that out just so we see it. It's just more clear. So we have a little understanding of what's going on when we're dealing with groups and peoples. And, that's what the meaning is. Akata is a word generally believed to derive from Nigeria. That's where she said Benin, southwest Nigeria. The words mean wild animal, stray cat. That's what they say. Akata also been translated to mean Black Panther. Okay. So, and I'm just saying this is dealing with, it's just to me all when you're disrespecting yourself, your people, you're disrespecting your woman, then you're devaluing yourself. And so I think that's pretty much where I want to leave it. If you guys got any comments or ideas on this, just let me know. But that's pretty much where I'm looking at this, because what's happening here is we don't understand the value of respecting each other. Even when we're at our lowest, we can criticize. Like if you see Minister Farrakhan, he'll criticize Black people, but that it's from a place of love and respect. And that's where we need to be when our own people, especially because you miss out on the building opportunity that you can get from some people. Now, we know that some people are not going to heed to that message, but people who actually, want to better, our group of people, to enhance and better the integrity of our identity of our group, which increases all of our value. That's where we got to go. That's where we got to go. So, that's pretty much where I want to end it. I'm going to do this here. Bam. I'm going to hit it with this old school, and we go out. Yeah. Protect your